Superman is now finally in theaters. Anybody could watch it. I've already seen it a couple of times now at this point. I have loved it. I already have my review for it if you want to check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. But before Superman actually came out, I was actually watching all of James Gunn's prior movies that he has directed, just to kind of get a feel for like how I felt about them already heading into this new movie. And now that I've watched Superman, I wondered, where does this rank amongst his best movies? And that is exactly what we are finding out today. I have James Gunn's, at least in my opinion, his top 5 movies that he has directed. I know he's made a couple of other movies like Super, but let's just call it like it is. This right here is the top 5. We have the 3 Guardians movies, we have the Suicide Squad, and then of course we've got Superman. Now, before we actually get into the ranking, I want to make this very clear. This is just my opinion. If you like some of these movies more than others, then that's totally fine, okay? Like this, it's not like this is the end-all be-all of tiers for James Gunn's movies, okay? It's just my opinion. And another thing I want to make clear, none of these movies are bad. Like I said earlier, these are his 5 best movies that he has made up to this point, and I like all of them, honestly. It's just that I like some more than others. So let's get this started at the number 5 spot, and honestly, 5 and 4, it can kind of change depending on the day. But as of right now, this is just how I feel. So at number 5, I'm going to put the Suicide Squad. Look, the Suicide Squad was a fun movie. It was James Gunn, coming away from Marvel after all that stuff that was going on. And, DC wanted him there because, again, he had a tried and true sort of formula with the movies that he was making. Take a group of misfits, put them together, make them heroes. And that's what he did with the Suicide Squad. And I thought it was really good. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great action sequences, a lot of great performances from some of the actors. I mean, again, it's right in his wheelhouse, and it's what he succeeded so well with in the MCU. So it only made sense that the Suicide Squad was going to be good. It's really funny, and there's some surprising character moments as well that actually hit a little bit deep. But yeah, number 5 is going to be the Suicide Squad. It's the number 4 spot that I already know I'm going to get so much flack for. And listen, man, it's just an opinion, okay? It's just an opinion. But I already know the comments are going to destroy me for this. So let's just get out the way. At number 4, it's going to be Guardians 3. It's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, listen, I know plenty of people absolutely adore this movie and what it is. I mean, again, it's very emotional, obviously with a lot of the Rocket stuff, right? Like a lot of stuff from his past, how he was dealing with it, what he was going through. That's the real heart and meat and potatoes of the movie. But I just think it's the weakest of the Guardians movies, if I'm being honest with you. It does sort of hit a little bit of a lull in the second act, at least as far as I'm concerned, and it just doesn't feel as cohesive as the other films. And obviously when it comes to Guardians 3, it was a very monumental moment for James Gunn as a whole, because listen, after all the stuff that had happened with Guardians 2, or at least after Guardians 2, when some like old tweets of James Gunn's resurfaced, Marvel ended up firing him. The cast wanted him back so badly, they wouldn't even do a Guardians 3 without James Gunn. So Marvel said, you know what, let's just bring him back, let's do it. And this is what we get. And it was an emotional sort of moment in that sense, because we all knew this was going to be James Gunn's last movie in the MCU before he ended up taking over as co-CEO of DC Studios. Again, it's solid for sure, but it is definitely uneven, at least for me. Now we're getting into the top 3, and at number 3, I'm going to go with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I don't think it's as good as the first one, obviously, but Guardians 2 still has a lot going for it, especially when it comes to really hardcore character moments with people like Quill and his father Ego, and even the whole team, if we're being honest. The film has the entire team really kind of sectioned off in their own little arcs, and I thought for the most part, all of it worked really well. And I mean, come on, man, the moment where Ego tells Quill, what he actually did to his mother, what he's actually been doing this entire time, that he's been alive, essentially, the moment that Quill realized that, it's one of the craziest, mic drop, pin drop moments that I think I've ever seen. Big shout out to Chris Pratt for acting that out so well. And of course, the moment where Quill gets his powers and actually uses them for the first time, with the music swelling up, that really sweet, kind of close up of the dust swirling around him. That was obviously dope. And big shout out to Nebula and Gamora for all the stuff that they were doing in the film, trying to reconcile with one another after all this time that had passed. I thought that worked really well. It's just that the reason it's not a little bit higher for me is just narratively speaking, it does feel a bit uneven. Also, not nearly as much as Guardians 3, but still some. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I'm leaving firmly at the number 3 spot, which means we are at our top 2. And this might also ruffle some feathers because you've got one film in Superman that just came out that honestly has gotten very great positive reception so far in the limited time that people have gotten to see it so far. And then, of course, you got Guardians of the Galaxy, the original Guardians of the Galaxy, which many believe is a top 5 MCU movie all time. I mean, again, it's what really put James Gunn's name on the map. It was so good, so unexpected for a lot of people. Both films are introductions to characters that, we either don't really know much about, or they're reintroductions in the sense that we haven't seen them in this new universe, specifically Superman in the new DCU. But I have thought about it. I have been wrestling with it. I was just going back and forth on it. I have the official ranking here. At the number 2 spot, I am going to go with Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is great, man. The humor, that classic James Gunn humor, it's just on full blast in this movie. The characters, again, you really have a sense that none of them like each other, but they find a way to work with each other, and the relationship just grows. The one thing that just stinks about this movie, because again, narratively speaking, it's super clean. It's straight to the point. It's just great and engaging. But the one thing that really hurts Guardians for me is the villain. Like, Ronan is such a BS, boring ass, basic ass villain. I mean, there was just nothing special or unique about him as a villain, and that just really hurt the film for me. Obviously not too much. It's still a top 2 James Gunn film, and I think it's one of the better MCU movies that has ever been made. But still, it's just, if it had a strong, captivating villain, it might have taken the number 1 spot. But because of that alone, it's firmly at number 2, which means at number 1, I gotta be honest with you, it's Superman. Superman is just great. I'm not going to do a whole rinse, wash, and repeat of the stuff that I've said of Superman in my review, but I'll give you a basic idea. This movie is just so wholly unique. The movie just feels like an episode of the animated Superman show come to life. Like, the cinematography is so much fun, so engaging. The fight and flight scenes are great. The casting is excellent. The humor and writing is excellent. The only real kind of gripes or nitpicks I have with the movie is that it does have some uneven pacing, and something that has really just become a staple with James Gunn at this point is his humor and where he places some of these comedic moments. There's a few specific moments in particular, I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but there's a few moments in the film where James throws in some comedic element in what is otherwise a very more serious, somber, emotional moment, and I just think the clash makes no sense. But even with that being said, the feeling that I got after the end credits rolled up is just, it kind of rivals like some of the better moments that I've had over the last, decade or so of watching movies. That feeling of just pure joy and happiness that we get something like this, that new, younger generations will have this as their Superman growing up. I mean, and just what a great Superman to have. Because as somebody that does love some of the Donner films, especially the original, 70s Superman, I actually think there's an argument that James Gunn's Superman is the best Superman film ever made. I genuinely believe there's an argument for that. And with that being said, I also believe, obviously, that it's the best movie James Gunn has made, period. And that wraps it up, guys. That is my ranking of James Gunn's movies so far. Please let me know in the comments what you think. How would your list look different? Where would you rank certain movies? Please let me know in the comments. And until next time, peace.